Good morning, and welcome to the Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm the Reverend Leslie Takahashi, and my pronouns are she and her. We are so glad that you are visiting and with us this morning, whether you're here every morning in one way or another, or whether you're visiting with us for the first time. If you are, we look forward to talking to you more about those values that we covenant to affirm and promote. And we invite you to fill out a visitor's card, which you can find on our website, www.mduuc.org. If you are with us today, then you know that we are virtual this week and probably for some weeks to come as we continue to do our part to stop the surge of COVID after the holidays. We are so grateful that we know how to gather this way, and there is still a lot going on here. We are going to, for these weeks and into the future, learn a new skill, which is to be interactive during our service using our YouTube channel, which many of you have discovered, but which some of you may still need to find. To get to that channel, just go to our email and connect through the YouTube link rather than the one at our webpage or through Facebook. And if you do that, you will be able to help us share some wisdom a little bit later in our service. We are also going to try something new at 3 p.m. today here in Walnut Creek. It is starting to get a little sunnier, the fog is burning off, and we are going to do a move and meet at 3 p.m. We're going to take a collective walk virtually by using technology, which means to participate you need a cell phone and some headphones, or just a cell phone, and a dial-in number which you can get by going to our calendar and registering. Use the phone number, and we will be letting you know how we can all go for a virtual walk together. This is actually something that a lot of fitness clubs are doing, and we're going to do it for community today. I'm looking forward to that walk myself. We are, in light of our the virtual nature of our gathering, moving our children's chapel to 9:30 to 10. So you can join us and you can join our wonderful director of Lifespan Religious Education, Indigo Lewis, at 9:30 to 10 on these virtual weeks so that you can participate in the Children's Chapel and still be part of this service later. We will also still have our time for all ages because our children are so important to us. Next week is the Martin Luther King weekend, which has always been an important weekend for this congregation, and we have a number of activities that will be happening all in a COVID-informed way. And so we do look forward to having you join with us, including welcoming our special speaker next week, Reverend Julius from the Interfaith Council. We hope you will come be with us to give Reverend Julius a warm welcome. To find out other programming that is happening here, please go to our website at www.mduuc.org. Our virtual calendar can be found under the News tab. Please contact me or our intern minister, Michael Macias, if you are in need of a listening ear or financial assistance during these challenging times. Remember, asking is a gift that you give our community, and welcome to our worship service this morning.
Good morning. I'm Janice Davis, a member of your Board of Trustees, and I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church is a welcoming faith community. We begin our services by reading our mission together. We bring to life our Unitarian Universalist values as we seek truth and work for justice, nurture compassion and courage, reach out to each other and to our larger community of faith, bridge the divisions that wound the human family, transform ourselves and our world. Welcome to our service. We're so glad to have you with us, and we hope that you are keeping safe. As you know, we're in the predicted COVID surge, and as a result, our programming is virtual. We are so fortunate to have the opportunities to connect in these times. Please join us after the service for our virtual connection hour. Thanks for working to keep our community safe, and please stay connected. It is ever-changing times, and we are here for each other. And welcome. It's good to be together.
Good morning. My name is Peggy Kroll, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm lighting the chalice this morning and sharing the words of Audre Lorde. We are powerful because we have survived, and that is what it's all about, survival and growth.
Good morning. My name is Indigo Lewis, and I serve this congregation as the Director for Lifespan Religious Education. My pronouns are she and her. Our story this morning that speaks to how we can support ourselves to support our dreams is one you might know well, The Little Engine That Could by Watty Piper. Now, the story goes that a train engine, neither big nor small, is doing an important job of carrying toys and food over the mountain to waiting children when it suddenly breaks down and can go no farther. The train engine is understandably upset because it knows the children will be very sad if there are no toys or food in the morning. And to make matters worse, as the engine continues to just sit on the track going nowhere, 3 other big and strong train engines roll by, who each, for their own reasons, pass by without helping. Well, eventually, a little blue engine shows up, and, despite their lack of experience, agrees to help. Okay, the job is a little above their abilities, but they give it their all, and with this reaffirming belief, you may have heard this before, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, manages to pull the other engine with all the wonderfully expected toys and food up and over the mountain. The town celebrates in the morning, and both train engines feel satisfaction. Now, this story is thought to be one of perseverance against difficulties, and perseverance is really just a big word for hard work. And this lesson is true when you consider it from the little blue engine's perspective. But what about the original train engine, the one filled with all the goodies? In the story, we learn about the excitement they have for their job and the deep belief that helping the children is important. So, when that engine breaks down and their dream is in danger, what happens? How does the engine with a dream not give up when it gets hard? Well, turns out that the engine finds support in others. All the toys, the clown, the dolls, the stuffed animals get out of the train to help. First, by trying to push the train themselves, and then by flagging down other engines until one finally agrees to help and they make it over the mountain together. So, as we enter into this new year of 2022 with important dreams in our hearts, know there will most likely be times of difficulty when you and your dreams will need some support. So, in the spirit of that other engine, the engine with a dream, may I offer this additional mantra for 2022. Others can help us over the mountain. Others can help us over the mountain. Others can help us over the mountain. Now I would like to invite Mark to sing our children and youth off to their other activities, which we had earlier, but let's sing anyway.
As you go, may joy surround you as you go. Go in peace. Know our love is with you always as you go, as you go.
Good morning. I'm Leslie Polgar, your worship associate today. My pronouns are he and him. For me, the key thought that marks the celebration of a new year is inscribe us. So every new year, whether in the Gregorian calendar we now use, or the older Julian calendar, or the still older Jewish calendar, each new year is a case of contemplating a blank page, a page yet unwritten. At Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, this occasion leads us to ask the cosmic author to inscribe us in the book of life. But such an inscription also beckons us, asks of us to write something aspirational, perhaps a resolution or two, about our journey through life and how we plan to continue. For some of us, that blank page is terrifying to contemplate. For others, that same blank page signifies a very welcome end to a bad year, to a bad chapter. Indeed, it can simultaneously be both terrifying and inspirational. A strange and unsettling duality of opposites. That is what today's theme and Jane Hirshfield's poem, Let Them Not Say, is all about. At the start of a new year, I think about the Roman god Janus. 15 years ago, I gave a summer lay sermon here titled, What a Friend We Have in Janus. Janus was the keeper of endings and beginnings. That is why the first month of the Gregorian calendar is named in his honor. Janus is often depicted as having two faces. But for me, I think that's a mistake. Because for me, the lesson of Janus's two faces is that he must look back at the old year, but also at the year ahead. And to do that successfully, each of us must decide what to discard and what to keep as we travel on our journeys. In effect, what shall we write on that blank page? May our writing be worthy so that we are inscribed in the book of life. And it is in that spirit that I call us to worship this day. Shalom.
Good morning. I have today's reading, the poem that Les just spoke of, Let Them Not Say by Jane Hirshfield. Let them not say we did not see it, we saw. Let them not say we did not hear it, we heard. Let them not say they did not taste it, we ate, we trembled. Let them not say it was not spoken nor written. We spoke, we witnessed the voices and hands. Let them not say they did nothing. We did not enough. Let them say, as they must say something, a kerosene beauty it burned. Let them say we warmed ourselves by it, read by its lights, praised, and it burned. In an interview, the poem's author reminds us that this is not about guilt, but resolve and commitment. So we're going to invite you all now to think about one small action that you are willing to make this month and beyond to help bring about the beloved community. And if you have joined us today, as 39 of you have on our YouTube interactive channel, we are going to invite you to share with us in the chat that thing that you are anticipating to call into action, to write into your blank page today.
This is the time in our service when we take into the loving embrace of this community those joys and sorrows that are too great to hold alone. And I am asking Rodney to light the first candle. It is a candle that he's asked us to light. He writes, "I'm asking Leslie to light a candle for my father and all our extended family who suffered the loss of his mother, my grandmother, 2 days ago." And I'm also asking Rodney to light a candle for all those in our community who have experienced divisions within their families. We are lighting a candle this morning for an elder in our community who is in need of temporary housing immediately, hoping that the resources of this community can be of assistance in this urgent situation. And we are lighting a candle for Ann Kunke, who has suffered a brain aneurysm, and I was preparing to light this candle when just a minute or two ago we got a picture of Ann. So we're grateful, Ann, that you are with us and participating this morning. we are lighting a candle to celebrate Joe Schellenberg, who celebrated his 70th birthday. And we are lighting a candle on behalf of Mary Helen Binger, who says, "For new baby born to my nephew in Salt Lake City, my brother is grateful for the safe birth of his first grandson." And I ask Reverend Rodney to light 2 final candles. One holds those joys and sorrows that are too great to hold alone. And the other holds our wishes, dreams, and hopes for this one imperfect and precious world, of which we are a part and upon which we depend.
When I rise, I will rise like a bird, joyfully. When I fall, I will fall like a leaf, gracefully. When I rise, I will rise like a bird, joyfully. And when I fall, I will fall like a leaf, gracefully, like a leaf, gracefully.
For today's meditation, we gather in a way that has become the familiar way for many of us. And for some of us, it is a return to a different way of being. Those who gather here today, let us enter in whatever way we can. Let us enter into the spirit of meditation and the deep ask of prayer. Those of us who gathered, please know that we who are here already know resilience. We are the ones who saw, who heard, who ate, who trembled, who spoke. We know what it means not to be hugged or touched as much as we would want to be. Our faces know what it means not to be seen. Our hearts know what it is to yearn until yearning turns to something like stone inside of us. And yet we are the resilient ones, the ones who are here, and that is a blessing. What that says to us and what we meditate on today is, what do we use that resilience, that gift, that blessing for? We are the ones who accepted that changes had to be made and made them and continue to make them, though we do not like them. And what other choices are before us as we start this year? How will we choose to use or not use that little bit of world-changing energy that lives inside each of us? In the last days of 2021, the world lost Bishop Desmond Tutu, who knew better than most the vacillations between hope and despair, who said, Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. Spirit of life that blesses each of us participating today, help us to remember this truth. Bishop Tutu also said, forgiving is not forgetting. It is actually remembering and not using your right to hit back. It's a second chance for a new beginning, and this remembering part is particularly important, especially if you do not want to repeat what happened. So let us, in this still unfolding new 2022, invite that kind of second chance. And Bishop Tutu said, we are each made for goodness, love, and compassion. Our lives are transformed as much as the world is when we live with these truths. We are the ones that will help one another get over the mountain. No virus, no extremism, no divisions will keep us from claiming our voices, our rights, our songs, our places in the world. May we know in this space, may we recommit to acting in the knowledge in this time that when we do what we can, we help guarantee that the next day we live into will be just a little bit better. And we help live into that future of which we still dream, when we will hug and laugh and sing, when people will be treated with equality and justice, when we will eat and dance and cry and laugh. Oh, how we will laugh together. Let us each, on this day, resolve to be part of that day to come. Amen. Ashe, and blessed be.
Two, two, three, and.
At the stroke of midnight on that great big holiday, we're gonna have a ball. That ain't all. Gonna chase my blues away. I'll be bringing in a brand new year. I'll be bringing in a brand new year. So listen, dear, won't you meet me here? I'm bringing in a brand new year. Gonna be a great big parade. I got my resolution made. Gonna ride above the stars. We might even take a trip
Hi, everyone. My name is Davina Smith. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. It's that time in the service again where I ask you to consider what you can donate to MDUC and this beloved community. I know here at our house, we are steadily working through the leftover Christmas ham and trying to figure out what to do with that one Christmas present that just seemed kind of random. If you and your family have anything spare after that Christmas season and are wondering, is there a good use for these few pennies I have lying around? Please consider going to our website, mduc.org, and clicking the Give Now button, either towards your annual pledge or to the Minister's Discretionary Fund. I hope that you're having a wonderful January, and thank you. Please join me in reciting the dedication of the offering. To the work of this community in transforming ourselves and our world, we dedicate ourselves and our offerings.
Before I begin, I would like to take a moment and thank my colleagues who are here with me, the few of the proud and here in the sanctuary, because today our sanctuary decided that it would be without heat. So we particularly owe a debt of gratitude to those who are with us today. And I will say that for religious professionals, these times just give us a new challenge every day. Now, not only do we have to worry about our masks and unmasking and unmasking without ripping the microphone off, but I do, for the first chance, have the opportunity to wear color-coordinated gloves to worship. So I'm grateful for that, but I'm going to take them off now, but just wanted to say. So, gratitude, especially to Tristan Thielman, who's been running around with heaters to keep us warm. We came, we saw, we ate, we trembled. In 2008, Skinner House published the first book I co-authored, the name of which was borrowed from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who we'll celebrate over this week. "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice," was the quote. And though writing that book was a 5-year heartache, when it was released, I still believed that that was the right title for it. After all, wasn't King's quote from our Unitarian adaptation from our Unitarian ancestor Theodore Parker? And wasn't that promise in the same vein as the thinking of our faith that once caused one of our Unitarian ancestors to declare that ours was a world which would see progress onward and upward forever? That is so much who we are as a people. I once saw a child who was learning just to write numbers and was getting to the part after 10 and very carefully wrote 2 lines next to each other and then said, "See, this 1 counts double." Those of us who have lived through these last years, this last half decade, truthfully, are in that category too. We're people that understand what it's like to go through years that count at least double. We have borne much, learned much, and seen so much. And these years, and these last weeks, all the frustrations of having plans undone yet again and again and again, this time of what the Othering and Belonging program at UCal Berkeley calls anti-democracy cascade, which includes constructing voting districts to benefit incumbents and make sure no one else will be elected. This year, when a political satire called "Don't Look Up" felt to many as if it were a documentary. This year, as I speak once again into a sanctuary devoid of people except for a small handful of my precious and rather chilly colleagues. This year, on a week when 1 year ago and 3 days ago, after a heinous attack on our sense of the loving predictability of the world and our democracy, we gather. But we gather. Keep that in mind. We gather in times that would have been unimaginable just a decade ago, having holidays without our beloveds, experiencing wrenching divisions in our families, losing loved one after loved one, seeing images of polar bears trapped on ever smaller chunks of ice, winter fires in Colorado, hurricanes, and in contrast, every excess of what Naomi Klein calls disaster capitalism. The disbelief we have lived with makes some of us just deny it, just pretend it doesn't exist, and just go about our business in defiance, though that may be deadly for some. And for many more of us, it leads to inaction, a sense of that powerlessness that is the first step onto the threshold of depression. In late 2016, the Academy of American Poets decided to publish Jane Hirschfeld's 2014 poem, which Rodney read earlier in our service, on Inauguration Day, in 2017. Some of you will remember that day. They wanted to publish it because it spoke of all that trembling of our previous unshakable beliefs, all the roots of the heaviness and difficulty of the years before that that traced back in time and also, as we now know is true, would go forward as well. Complacency and a sense of certainty that even if we did nothing, we would inhabit a better and freer and more just world made us all perhaps not take the actions we wished we had taken in those early years of that decade. And yet Hirschfeld is talking about the poem in a very clear way, that in these times, regret is much less important than resolve. Many of us still believe that we can bend that arc. And I think many of us also now understand with greater certainty that its curvature is not guaranteed unless we are active participants. It depends on us, that bending, and our willingness to realize that we have had the incredible blessing of resilience and survival in these last years. So we have already demonstrated how we turn that resilience into resolution. I want to say that again. We already know that we can turn that resilience into resolution. What are the small acts that we can commit to do one day at a time to help add our weight to the bending of that arc? It might be just buying local, buying less and donating more, skipping one round of computer solitaire for a phone call to a friend, or sending a card to someone we actually know we can't have a civil conversation with right now, but someone we want to let know that we still love them. Taking one action from the Side of Love page at the Unitarian Universalist Association, or participating in our next virtual hour of action, which will be a week from now, next Sunday, led by Reverend Rodney. We could do that instead of just sitting and watching one more alarming analysis of things we already know are bad enough. We could spend some of our risk dollars to join in our MLK witness next week. We could listen to the fears of a teenager about this world rather than reassuring them that, of course, it's going to be okay, because our answers are in that, of course. When we do act, see, taste, we can see the beauty and reasons for gratitude all around. And this time, as we watch the world go a little more virtual once again, we have things we didn't have last time. We have vaccinations, and we have boosters, and we have the skills that we learned to keep us alive in those years just past. We know how to use the tools of virtual connection. We have an incredible array of knowledge about how important we are to one another, and not just during COVID surges. And though what happened to Ahmaud Arbery is unspeakable and should never have happened, it was aired and confronted, not just shoved under the table behind closed doors. Laws were changed and the perpetrators were convicted this week. We have trembled with fear this year, with right action, and we can tremble with joyful purpose.
In a recent interview published in Psychology Today, poet Jane Hirschfeld was asked a poignant and powerful question. And that question was, is there hope in your poem? She answers this question by stating that the poem's hope lives in the phrase, let them, those in the future, not say. She explains that she wanted the phrase, let them, to sit in that sweet space between a command and a powerful prayer. Let them not say it was not spoken, not written. Let them not say they did nothing. How often in life have we wished that we had said something, done something, Maybe our lack of self-worth kept us from expressing a deep need. Perhaps our desire to keep the status quo resulted in us not interrupting microaggressions that we witnessed. Maybe our fear of rejection prohibited us from reminding someone how much we loved them. Or maybe it was our sense of pride that kept us from expressing the three very hard words in the English language: I am sorry. Hirschfeld explains that the command, let them, reminds us that the future is malleable. They have not said anything yet because that time has not come. There is still time for us to speak and do, to change, to grow, to be better. The final few lines of her poem speak of the kerosene beauty by which people warm themselves, read, and engage in praise. Normally, I see fire as a destructive force, something that burns away, making room for something new. However, I hear her words differently. Somehow, Hirschfeld focuses my attention away from the flames of destruction itself and reminds me that there is beauty to behold in the light, especially within the relationships of those that are around the resulting fire. I find an odd comfort here that reminds me that even if I feel frozen to say or do something, perhaps my chosen community can do it with me or for me. I myself only need to find the smallest of things to do or to say. Maybe, just maybe, my small action or word can ignite a hope or an inspiration in those who have gathered around our fledgling flyer. A hope for reimagined policing or health care for everyone, or perhaps adequate food and housing for all. Even by focusing on small and very manageable acts or words, the initial flames of our action could result in us seeing our own kerosene beauty. Here are some of the ways all of us have shared today in our YouTube channel, those tiny or large or small or everything in between ways to initiate the flames of commitment and action. It's these words that are, today at least, our collective kerosene beauty. I hope to bring more laughter and joy into my life and those around me. I hope to continue optimism. I will continue to read and discuss Caste and other books despite the difficult chapters they may contain. I hope to enjoy and join the Sunday services virtually at MDUUC. I'm going to speak up when there is something that needs to be said. I'm going to bring a more joyful presence in my life and support widening the circle of concern and its implementation. I'm going to continue supporting my 15-year-old grandniece as she lives with COVID anxiety. I'm going to increase my offering of healing in several different settings.
I did a lot of, thank you, Reverend Rodney. It's wonderful, and thank you to all of you who brought your voices into the service. It's wonderful to have that as part of our service today. I did a lot of cleaning over the holidays because I couldn't do some of the things I had planned to do. And one of the things that surfaced was this little book. I don't know where I got it. It must have been one of my dear retired colleagues who often pass on their wisdom. It was a little book of translation of the words of the Desert Fathers by Henry Nouwen and also Yushi Nomura. And this is one of the little fragments of wisdom in that very beautiful little book. A brother asked an old man, "What shall I do For many thoughts are bothering me, and I don't know how to fight them back. And the old man said, do not fight against all of them, but just against one. In fact, all thoughts have a single head, and therefore you have to figure out which and what kind it is, and then fight against it. By doing so, you can defeat the rest of those thoughts. So those desert ones, the Abbas and the Ammas who went to live in the desert, did so at a time of great cultural upheaval, as the Roman Empire had fallen and Christianity was being converted into a state religion which stripped much of what had been its power for its most devoted and early converts. We spoke, we witnessed, we did not enough. We living in this era of change may feel that as well. That despite our speaking and our witnessing, we somehow ended up in the not enough category. And again, what is useful to us is not regret, but resolve. We living in this era of change may feel an overwhelming onslaught of things which feel as if they need our attention every moment. And especially in these isolated times, we may feel paralyzed and unable to act on all of them. And yet, perhaps among them, through our discernment, we can find out that one head, that one step, that one action, and take that start in this new year. When last our sanctuary was this empty, we needed to be comforted, and we still do, and we should offer one another ways to get over this mountain together. And this is a both and, not an either or, I know for myself that we also need to feel as if we are still agents of change in our lives and in the world, to overcome that sense of powerlessness and despairing helplessness. And just as when Christianity was changing the world in the 1800s, the century over which slavery came to an end, the century over which it came to an end, those who fought for abolition would find a way only to have that way closed in front of them, and then find another way only to have that way closed in front of them. And even after the slaves were freed, and even after the next decade's struggle around whether or not they would count as citizens, with many, again, ends and dead ends and new needs for new paths, they then had to wrestle with all the ways that those new citizens found their basic rights, including the right to vote, restricted, which might sound familiar. What is before us might be more of a ramble than a path, and yet it is there. In the world racked by disbelief and disillusionment, we can warm ourselves by that fire of faith. Those who believe in a great external order, those who believe there's this great controlling God in the sky that is managing all of this in these times, have to be completely in despair. They have to find ways to strike out in rage and betrayal. And yet we who have always known that at best we are essential to the equation in partnership with such a God, might want to spend less of this particular time of less external activities, learning and growing and doing what we can. We can support the ACLU or the League of Women Voters or the People's Campaign, which is led both by William Barber, the Black leader, and Liz Theoharis, a white woman who has known the extremes of poverty. We can vow to talk to a friend in another state about the importance of their local races or their Secretary of State race this year. We can pass up one delivered meal and give a special gift to the Trinity Center, which is serving a record number of people every day now because of the rise in those unhoused. We can order less on Amazon and reduce our carbon footprint and help our local merchants. We can listen to the voices of Indigenous leaders who have been crying out against the despoilment of our environment for centuries now. Jane Hirschfeld writes, "It's my nature to question, to look at the opposite side. I believe that at our best we do this. We look where there is sorrow, and there will be joy. And where there is joy, there will be sorrow. The acknowledgement of the fully complex scope of being is why good art thrills. Acknowledging the fullness of things is our human task. We do not know yet how it will turn out, and I do not want them to say, we did not enough. Together, we can make this time when we know that our sheltering walls are thin, when we boost those walls together, we buoy them up. We can make this a time like the desert fathers journeyed, a time for recommitting to the core of our faith, for moving from resilience to resolve. And as we do these things, we will work towards a future joy where we all see each other a little more clearly and with such deep gratitude and celebration. When we will hear the sounds of one another's voices, when we will break bread together once again, for we are living in that crack that is in everything, as the singer Leonard Cohen says. And now we have to be the bearers of the little shards of light that can start coming through that crack. We are the ones who will help each other get over that mountain. May we make it so in this 2022.
We are living a new
Reverend Rodney and I look forward to welcoming you in our virtual coffee hour of connection hour in just a little bit. And in the meantime, in this world in which, the unexpected might happen, you could end up wearing gloves in worship, we close with these words from Jane Hirschfeld. We are each made for goodness, love, and compassion. Our lives are transformed as much as the world is when we live with these truths. And let us now extinguish the light of our chalice, but let us take the warmth of commitment and community out into the world, and let us know that we are not alone.